My country people, yes, my country people, yes, them go talk, them just the parambulate, so story heavy, never no bring light, never no bring light, generator whatever, yeah, generator whatever, yeah, plenty greedy man for them, yeah. Take a project, forget it, forget about the big things, say make we talk about the small things, forget about the big things, say make we talk about the small things, yeah.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So that they can be charged, used. You're listening to me, if on Starr Radio UK, bear with us. So we're getting into this is what's next with me. We're getting into the news of the moment, the news and edutainment. So we're talking about electric cars making money. So in this Portuguese island in the Atlantic, cars are being powered by solar panels, charged, and the power is returned back into the grid. So people can use the power back in their homes late at night. So what they're doing is these cars are really smart. So they're charged, when it's really hot, they're charged, they use the power that they need for the time being, and then they return the power back into the grid. And you know, this is really innovative because they're trying to reduce emission and reduce, you know, using fuels that are bad for the environment. And not only that, it saves money, it creates money. Like if you're storing up energy and then using it again later at night, it's amazing. They can return power back to the grid, use it, store it. You know, I think it's great. It could generate renewable energy. You know, that they were talking today on BBC News about, and earlier in the show that they were talking thanks. You know, they're talking about they're talking about reducing emissions and reducing, you know, using fossil fuels, something that's really important in this day and age. So I think it's good. They can use it in Africa. You know, I think they are using this power already in that country, and I think you can use it in Africa when it's hot here. Rarely, but it's really important, you know, to have this power. So let's move on to the next story. So we are looking at young medics in Uganda have been developing ultrasounds for women in rural Uganda, because many women are dying, unfortunately, still die from childbirth in places where their electricity isn't strong, so they aren't able to get ultrasounds that could, you know, that can look into the womb and see what issues are. So it's important that, so I think it's good that they're making a device they're making this device called M-Scan. So it's a portable ultrasound that can be plugged into a laptop or a phone, used anywhere, and it was developed by a bunch of medical students who had to, you know, come up with the challenge of how are we going to use electricity, how are we going to make scans when we don't have electricity. So it was developed by co-founder Phyllis Koyomohendo, I hope I pronounced that right, and they found funding through the UN, and winning competitions. They were able to, you know, develop this product that they can, she said, plug into a laptop. It deciphers the medical scans and projects them as images, and they can see into the womb. And they want to make this available in public and private medical centers throughout Uganda. I mean, I think the country's already realizing that it's important to have medical centers throughout, because they're investing. There's over 2,000 private medical centers, but they want this device to be developed and used across all medical centers. I think it's important. Like it's very innovative and crucial, because they're solving very important medical issues. You know, in many parts of the world, women do not die from childbirth, and to die from something as simple as not being able to have an ultrasound is like really important. So it's amazing that they can find that they have made this thing. You know, looking last week, if you missed the show, we had Hans Ramzan, Designer of the Year nominee, who made a device called Catch, which is an at-home HIV detector. So it's really it's great that young people are taking an initiative, overcoming challenges and fixing a crucial problem. So I just want to acknowledge some people. Thank you, Dave West. Thank you. We fixed the sound problem. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Thank you, Dad, for listening, and Nana Kutamba, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name, for watching live here in Ghana. Thank you so much. And so we're still having some news, and then we're gonna catch up with Sister Pauline Habilla, sorry, Manila, sorry. So thank you, and then we're going to be talking about food and faith. So thank you. Stay tuned. You're listening to Starr Radio UK. Okay, so the next story we have going back to the UK. We're traveling all over the world today on what's next. The Office for University Students want to change the way A-level students are applying to university. They want to change the entrance system. So the entrance system is overhauled, so students can maybe only apply after they've received A-level grades. The Office of Students are concerned that universities are engaging in unethical practices like selling unconditional offers to students. They can't tell how individual universities make their offers, but they might be able to change the way and govern the system better. So they would like to remove the problem of institutions, just handing out these unconditional offers and then pressuring students that, okay, if you choose this university as your first choice, we'll just give you the place. And I think they just want to reduce the idea of students, slacking, like, okay, I've got my place now, I don't have to work as hard anymore. So they want to solve the unreliable, and they want to solve unreliable predicted grade issues. Making, it's easy to just rely on the grades that you've not gained already. So how are you going to make the decision on a grade that I don't have, or I might not get, or it might be too low, I might get a grade higher than this. So I think it's important that they are working with admissions, because it, like they said with statistics, it's 30 times more likely for students to get an unconditional offer now than it was 5 years ago, which is a bit insane. So in a letter to Michael Barber, the chair of OFS, he said they want to establish what the admission processes are and how it can help students. And then so we talked about the pressure selling. So I think they're just overall concerned with just the way students are getting these admissions, and they're going to launch a review this autumn, and it's going to be completed in 2020. So they said that it's important, Universities UK said it's important to work with UCAS, the University and College Admission Service, to review how they're going to make the admissions process clear and fair and transparent. I think it's best that they forget to think about students, because these are students studying things that's going to affect their future. It's important that they're guided best, and they have the best process possible, so that they can choose the right uni. Because if they get this offer and then it seems like it's either too hard or it's too easy and they drop out, then they've lost money, and that student's lost a possible opportunity. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, for those of you, if you're yourself are considering studying to university, studying and getting into university, it'll be interesting to see what the changes are, and how they can help bring positive changes, better admission systems, and work on the interests of the students. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going to achieve that. So our next story is Comic Relief are to cut back on celebrity appeals. So if if you're not from the UK, if you're listening from outside the UK, there is this show. They do sports relief or comic relief every year that raises awareness of, you know, the poverty that happens in Africa and Asia and different, you know, developing countries. And it seems that a lot of people are, they've gained a lot of criticism over the years because they're sending, you know, white celebrities, as they're calling it, white saviors to Africa, you know, to spread light on issues, but they're concerned about not doing it in the best way. So the comic relief charity co-founder and screenwriter Richard Curtis told MPs that they're going to be heading in a direction of not using celebrities abroad, and they want to be careful to give voices to the people who live here. So MP David Lammy, who criticised the Dooley film, said that they're glad that they want to move forward from, you know, the tired, harmful stereotypes. So documentary maker Stacey Dooley made a documentary about traveling to Uganda, about what comic relief are doing, and they feel like it's showing, you know, it's demeaning people. It's showing Africa not in the best light, because Africa and other countries, they are, you know, they still do have wealth. Yes, they have issues, but they do have wealth. They do have a lot of resources that are important, and there are people that are thriving. Like in most of these countries, the economy is thriving and money is thriving and people are thriving. So I think, like, for example, 2 years ago, Ed Sheeran's video from Liberia for comic relief was called that it was the most offensive and stereotypical fundraising video. And I think comic relief haven't acknowledged the fact that it is, you know, they've acknowledged the fact that, yes, the sadder the video are, the more chances they are to raise money, but at what cost? You know, these are people, they're living people. You know, it's important to do everything they can to, yes, raise, they said they're trying to do everything they can to raise the maximum amount of money for projects, but also, you know, you don't want to send out the wrong image. You don't want to, and it seems like they have been. That's why, it's good that they're bringing about these changes, because it seems like they have been showing these countries as demeaning and negative. And, you know, they have to listen to this stereotype. So it's good that, you know, they're yes, they want to encourage people to fix the problem, but it's careful how you do it. So there is people made, there's a pressure group called No White Saviors, founded by 2 aid workers in Uganda, and they did say it's good, you know, they didn't say don't care about the causes, and they didn't say, like, it's not important to help these causes, but it's how this is done. So I think it's very important. It's interesting, you know, when people clearly do want to help and they do want to raise awareness. So, but also, like, the way you raise awareness for certain issues, the way you come across delicate issues, think about, yes, you're helping and that's great, but how are you helping? And no one's saying that the help is not needed. It is needed, but it's important to think about, you know, to be sensitive and to have empathy and think about, okay, yes, we are going to help these people, but we're going to, you know, give them the tools that they can help themselves as well. Because, yeah, I think everyone does need help, but there's some help that can be damaging and just that can be damaging and can be, you know, unhelpful. And then there's help that is, you know, assistance, you know, just help that, okay, I have this help, this is how I'm going to use the help, and this is how I'm going to strive and learn from, you know, what the aid workers are doing, and see, like, this is how I can help myself. Yes, you can educate, and then from that education, what are they going to do from it, which is really important. So we're going to go now to our guest, Sister Pauline Malilla. Sorry, about your surname, mixing that up, but we're going to talk to you soon. We're going to talk about your wonderful blog, Silver Linings, and we're going to talk about food, which is good. It's lunchtime. I hope you guys listening and watching, hope you listening and watching are eating, because we're going to make you very hungry today. So stay tuned. So stay tuned while we're going to chat. I'm gonna page her in now. But you're listening to Starr Radio UK, your leading Afro-Caribbean radio station. Let's see. Bear with us. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi. How are you there?
Hi, Sister Pauline. Sorry about your surname.
Oh no, it's okay. I understand.
Calling you by the wrong name, but thank you so much. You're speaking on Starr Radio UK. How do you feel?
I'm quite excited. Yeah,
That's
it's great to be on What Next. Yes, so I'm looking forward to chatting with you and talking about loads of things. Yeah.
Loads of things. Thank you. So today, so how are you? How's your day been so far? Let's get to know each other.
It's been okay, just easy going. Yeah, just my usual day. A little bit under the weather, but yeah, I'm coping.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes.
We know that you're gonna feel better as we
Yeah.
chat. So please introduce yourself, your name, and where you're from, and
Okay. So my name is Pauline Manila. Yes, my maiden name is
Yeah.
Habilla, so you're actually not wrong. Yes, that was my former name.
that's
So I'm Pauline Manila, and I'm from London. Originally from Nigeria, but yes, I'm based in London. Yes.
So yeah, you've had a good day. So obviously I'm talking to you because you have a amazing blog called Silver Linings.
Yes.
So it's where you talk about, where you write about food and
Yeah.
food recipes and like experimentations with food and just like different foods. So just tell us a bit more, like how did you get into cooking?
Well, it actually started for me when I was with my mom at a very tender age. My mom used to make queen's cakes when we were very, very young, and she used to sell them. So we used to bake like birthday cakes, obviously, so many times a year, and we used to help her out, lick the bowl, the typical stuff, you know. And then it went on to I think I started cooking properly at the age of 10. So helping out in the kitchen, making breakfast, so the typical Nigerian breakfasts, either pap with akara or, that's like bean cakes.
Cakes, yeah.
Or potatoes, because where I'm originally from in Jos, potatoes is like one of the staples there. So you could fry them, boil them, roast, all manner of stuff. That's what we used to do with those. Yeah. So that's how I started. And then my interest was kind of further to when I went into food and nutrition in high school.
Yeah.
So we used to do lots of cooking every Friday. So, and I think that was probably my favorite subject too. So yeah,
Wow,
that's it.
Wow. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it seems like back home is like one of your, so that's how you got into cooking. Like, how was it cooking from home and cooking at school? What was the difference?
Cooking at home, well, I guess at school you got to cook more structured and learned methods and all that kind of stuff. But well, at home it was more, I guess, just really homely stuff and more easy going as such. There wasn't, I wouldn't say there was too much different because the things were pretty much similar. It's just, well, if you didn't want to do it, you had to. So but at school it was fun too, because at the end of the day the boys in my class were always waiting at the corner for all the girls or all the food and nutrition students to bring their food. So
Oh
at least
wow.
somebody would eat them.
Wow. So
Yeah.
well, that's amazing. So you've said like it's been part of your childhood. It's just part of where you grew up, cooking,
Yes. Mm.
learning to cook at home. So what would you say your inspiration in the kitchen is?
I think I'm very big on flavor. I do like very intricate things that I'm not used to. I'm very experimental. I would go to the shops and see things that I'm not used to, and I'll buy them and
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm going to try this and see what it tastes like. So yeah, flavor is one thing for
flavor.
me. I don't think for me with food, if you're cooking and there's no flavor,
Flavor. Bland. You don't
it's
like
what,
bland
yeah, I
food.
think it's what everybody looks out for. It must taste good. It's not just about the nutrition alone. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
tasting
that for
good
me,
is
that is
already
it. And then eating healthy too.
eating healthy, definitely. Um,
Yeah.
so what? So your blog, Silver Linings. How did you start that? What was the story behind that?
Oh, so with silver linings, from the name you hear or about every cloud has a silver lining. So
That
it was
that
like
saying.
an important point for me to just express myself. I like writing and I love cooking. So those two things, I just combine them there. So whatever I create, I put them on my blog and sometimes tell stories through them. Sometimes I just do the recipes and just explain the methods and all that. So that was for me, that's my inspiration. Yeah.
Inspiration, silver lining. I like that every cloud has a silver lining.
Yes.
That is important. Not just cooking in life, but we'll get to that. um, so I noticed, like, from your blog that you cook both African and English meals, like,
Yeah.
and you talk about flavor. Like, how are you both like able to like blend them together? 'Cause-
So with flavors, I find the English meals are quite simple and yes, they're lovely. English meals tend not to have too many intricate flavors, but African food is very sophisticated and
Definitely
it packs
spicy.
real punch. So, but when you
Spicy.
combine the two, yeah, it's quite nice. And then it also creates an opportunity for other people of other cultures to taste
Yeah.
and to understand African food because I think sometimes people think it's too strong or
Yeah.
too much.
Overpowering.
But when you come through that avenue, it just makes it more interesting. And then you kind of get like a fusion, and it invites people to want to try more and see more.
Yeah, because you've seen that recently in restaurants, haven't you? Fusion,
Yeah.
fusion. Like I think that what is it, Korean? I've not tried myself, but Korean barbecue and like different cultures like fusing things together, like bringing about inspiration from different areas and just bringing them together. Um,
Yeah.
so that's good. We're gonna try and get your website up for people watching to listen to. So,
Okay.
what's your favorite meal to make?
I would say my favorite meal because I really like potatoes. That's what I grew up on.
Potatoes.
So a roast dinner would be great.
That's
I
already
like
making everyone hungry.
potatoes. Yeah. Yeah, I really love potatoes. Yeah, that's any type. Boiled, fried, roasted. Yes, you've got me.
That's amazing. So we're having your so your favorite meal is potato. I think and it's good. Potatoes are, you can make so much out of potatoes. Like you said, peeled, boiled, fried. They're like the staple of like most people's meals, especially here. You can have them any time of the day.
Yeah.
So what's your like favorite place to go out and eat?
I wouldn't say I really have a favorite place. I do like a couple of places. Nando's. Um, their chicken is nice. I love their peri peri chips. Then there's this place called 805 Niger, which is a Nigerian restaurant for very good, authentic Nigerian food. And then I love Thai food. Yeah, so that would be it.
So, we talked about like different flavors. What we talked about flavors. What kind of flavors have you like managed to bring together, and what flavors have you managed that you found you can't, bring together?
I wouldn't say I haven't managed to bring not managed to bring together. I think it's just you need to understand the ingredients, and then see what actually works. There's always room for something to work out. So at the moment, I've just been trying out more English foods, and then I just experiment with different things. Thai food. I've cooked a Thai green curry and I like it. I like the way it is, just as it is. I don't think it should be tweaked. It's perfect. And Nigerian food, just I think it's more to do with the way it is perceived than just the flavors alone, because I think a lot is said through flavors, or it's transferred to flavor. You understand cultures and you understand what people are about through that. Um, and so I just, yes, don't mess with flavors and just maybe change the methods, the way things are made and all that.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So you've talked about like the way things are made and the way things are made. So the way things are made and how you can understand people better through their flavors. So we have your website's live now for people watching on Star Radio. So I'm scrolling. We're gonna scroll through and just talk a bit about your some of the methods and some of the recipes that we have. So the website is silverlinings .699 well, silverlining699.wordpress.com.
Yes.
So bear with us. So your recent let's look at some of your recent posts. So you talked about not just food that tastes healthy food, but food that tastes good as well. So what's one recipe that we can teach the viewers and the listeners on the site? Let's look at the I'm scrolling through. Let's look at the hibiscus, gluten-free hibiscus drink. Wow. So you talked about like zobo and hibiscus. What are zobo and hibiscus? Let's get into some of these recipes.
Okay, so hibiscus or zobo or sorrel, it's called. I think that's what most Jamaicans call it, or Caribbean area. It's like it's a red leaf from the hibiscus plant, and when you boil it, the color comes off, and it's quite tangy and sour. It's used for a lot of drink in Nigeria called zobo. You can flavor it. Most people use pineapple, apples, ginger to flavor it. And it's very easy to make. It's sold in most Afro-Caribbean shops, and I think even now I found them in supermarkets, like Morrison's do sell them. I think probably as than Tesco would do. So just looking at the world aisle, you'll find them. So you just boil, let's say about 2 handfuls with about 5 liters of water. And for about 20 minutes until the color of the water is bright, like red, deep red. And then just add some sugar, and you can add lemon zest to flavor it, or pineapples, or just any nice flavoring that you like. Yeah, wow. And it's ready. I add sparkling water to make it interesting.
Yeah, that is, and like when you have people over as well, it's a simple drink rather than going to the fridge and just easy. It sounds really simple.
Yeah.
So, what else? Let's see what else. Also, we talked about potatoes. Let's see your delicious egg and egg muffins with Hasselback potatoes.
The egg muffins. So that one is just eggs beaten with loads of vegetables and then baked in the oven. And the Hasselback potatoes you just have a huge, more like a jacket potato, and you cut slices through it halfway through from top to bottom on its side, and then it's just you drizzle with oil and you bake. You can put loads of either pepper, or you can add salt, you can add basil, whatever flavor. I've seen people put cheese.
Cheese and potatoes.
Just flavor anything nice, And
so you have, it says like chili flakes, paprika, tomato, olive oil, thyme. Good flavors, meaty flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how? So going back to your to this. So this is how you managed to did you manage to like experiment in the kitchen with this?
To experiment with the. Sorry, I didn't get that.
So how were you able to like develop these recipes and
It's more sitting down and thinking, okay, I would like to create something with this. What can I do with it? Just try something different and bring my own unique taste or unique point to the world, and for people to try it, and see what I offer. Yeah.
yeah. So your recent topic. So you've talked about different meals, like in terms of relating to like you've got a lot of smoothies, cakes. So you've got some that relate to like different points in your life as well. So you've got a nursing smoothie as well as what your recent post. So tell us a bit about that.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thanks. So tell us a bit about your nursing smoothie and the story behind that and the reason for creating the smoothie.
Well, nursing smoothie really, with breastfeeding mothers, it can be quite a challenge sometimes getting your breast milk flowing, particularly if you have a very hungry infant. So it's just a combination of ingredients that I personally have found. I have a 7-month-old boy, and I find that when I eat these things, it really helps my milk flow. And I know other people have used these ingredients and it really works. So it's just something nice for me to eat while I'm breastfeeding, plus all the other nutritious things that I eat. So this one has oats and carrots. Oats, which I know lots of women, mothers know, lactation cookies, lots of people use oats in them. Just oats on it by itself, you can take that to help improve your milk flow. And then carrots too, amazingly. I've not really heard a lot of people talk about carrots, but somehow I just found that for me, it just really improves the milk flow. So that's what the nursing smoothie is all about. And like anybody can eat this really. If you want a more interesting way to add more veggies into your day life or your normal life, try it.
So it's got like pineapples, bananas, mangoes,
Yeah.
nutmeg, oats. Ooh, yummy. And Scotch bonnet as well. How's that?
Yeah, it just adds an extra punch. If you want to burn a little bit more calories, chili is the way.
Wow. So do you have any like funny kitchen stories or experiments?
I would say I think I remember as a teenager, my parents not being around and visitors coming by, and I was wondering what to prepare for them, and I made some rice and it was super salty.
Oh my goch, I think I've been there too.
Yeah, just a typical, you burn food. Honestly, I can't really think of much right now. Yeah.
Oh wow, that is funny. I think we've all been there when we try to. I'm gonna try and make this really nice meal. Have all the ingredients, and then you've burnt them, or you've oversalted something.
Yeah.
And if you grew up like in a Nigerian household, they're not gonna pretend to eat it and be like, "This is not." They're gonna say, "What is wrong? What happened here?" Oh, that's so funny. So another one, of your posts that you talked about that healthy eating and it being a journey, and you discuss like veganism and different phases. Let's discuss this further.
Okay, so I wrote an article recently about healthy eating and being a journey. Because I've been thinking of health holistically. Is it just being vegan? Is it being on a keto diet? Is it just exercising 5 days a week? What is the definition of being healthy? Because I think a lot of people think health is just food related, but health is
Yeah.
a whole combination of things. There's the health in your mind, there's the health in your body, there's the health in your spirit,
Yeah.
all sorts of things that are involved, and it depends on what you feed on, what you feast on, all manner of things
Yeah.
are involved. But focusing more on health in terms of food and eating, I personally find that I feel we need to focus on understanding our bodies.
Yeah.
And if we understand our bodies, and that for me, has to do with understanding the creator and knowing your creator, because he has a purpose for how our body should function. You wouldn't buy, for example, a washing machine without having a manual.
Yeah.
You would try to get the manual just in case anything goes wrong, or to know how to use it, and there's always this danger of you overwork yourself, you just keep going, and then you kind of do some sort of quick fix,
Yeah.
to sort yourself out when something goes wrong. But we need to be making sure that at each step, or on every day, we are focusing on making sure our health is optimum, because at the end of the day, it matters overall. So it's just, thinking about all these things. And even
Wow.
with veganism, sometimes I
Yeah.
wonder, is it really the best way for
Yeah.
us to eat? Because even with veganism, they still have to find certain nutrients
Changes.
from
Yeah.
certain sources to make sure they're not malnourished. And I've heard that some vegans are not very happy.
They're not very happy. I
So
think
I'm
it's
not saying,
interesting.
don't quote me, I'm not saying all
Yeah.
vegans are sad
No.
people, but
I think.
um um there's when I look at the Bible, I look at how people used to eat in the olden days. They
So
ate lots of fruits, vegetables, and all that, and they ate
yeah.
meat
They
still.
did eat meat and they ate
I
bread.
think it also varies because there's lots of processes now that also comes into, like, with meat production, lots of chemicals used, antibiotics, things are sprayed with all manner of stuff, pesticides and everything. So it affects the quality of so many things that we eat. So at the end of the day, you're buying a piece of meat and you're putting in more than you paid for into your body, and it has an effect overall on your
Yeah.
health.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's that really.
Oh, that's good. Like, yeah, it's interesting. You did touch on veganism.
Mhm.
It's quite important because, like, people have this thing: is it just a phase? Is it healthy? And I know it's good. People have reasons in terms of the environment, and I know there's been loads of like documentaries about in terms of the environment, is meat healthy for you and stuff. But I think if it is
Mhm.
a health choice, I think
Mhm.
there are steps that you should take,
Mhm.
before considering being a vegan. Some people just stop completely. Some people just, try it for a few weeks or just go all in. But I think, like you said, it's important knowing your body holistically and going back, going back
Yeah.
to what you said, like going back to the creator, which is why I wanted to talk a bit about faith and food and how we can
Yeah.
link and relate the two. And you said, it's interesting, you said going back to the creator, and here we believe that, God created, looking at the Christian faith, God created man in his own image, and obviously
Mhm.
he knows what we
Yeah.
need, and our,
Yeah.
our he knows everything about us, the way our bodies were designed, the way our organs were designed. So obviously he knew, like you said, the fruits and the food that he made. It says in the Bible, like, here, take of everything, you have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and here's what you can eat and here's what you can't eat. So let's,
Mm.
talk about, faith and food and like feasts and
Yes.
meal times. It's important.
Yeah.
So,
It is. Yeah. It's absolutely important. I think those two really go
hand in hand.
together. If you read in the Christian, in the Bible, if you read in Genesis, there's an instruction of eating herbs and every tree that bears fruit with its seed in it. I've always been bothered about seedless stuff. Now, before they used to tell you it was seedless, now they don't anymore. Because there's life in the seed. And it's important that we don't tamper with the way things are naturally. And then you get other instructions too when you look at in the New Testament where Peter was told to, he had a vision, even though that might have a deeper meaning, but we're looking at it in terms of food.
Yeah.
He was told to get up and eat. There was a whole group of different types of animals and stuff that were counted as unclean in the Jewish race. But he was told to get up and eat, you know. So, but at the same time, you're like, okay, God wants us to eat a diversity of foods and different types of food. But with me, well, what I found is that doesn't mean, because everybody says, oh, everything is blessed and sanctified and you just eat it. So I don't necessarily always think so. Do you just get up and pick some pesticide somewhere? If we saw a bottle of pesticide somewhere, we wouldn't want to drink that, but it's sprayed on our food. Yes, we have no control over that, but if we get up and take things by the horn, things can, you know, by the bull by the horn, things can change to change the way certain things are done, because most of these processes are just done to make things grow faster and all that, you know. So it's understanding how should I nourish my body, because I personally have found there are times when I with my relationship with God, I'll be like, Lord, I'm going through this, and He will like, okay, stop eating this. And then when I stopped eating those, whatever He asked me to stop eating, then those symptoms go away, you know. But it might not necessarily be so for somebody else, you know. It could be different. That thing could be okay for them. So our bodies are all kind of wired differently, where, as the Bible says, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. So I am taller than somebody else, another person is bigger than me, or shorter than me. So we're not exactly, yes, we have the same, everybody has a heart, everybody has a liver, you know, but we're wired in some very intricate ways, you know. And when there are issues or things, we should just go back to God and ask. And for you to do that, you need to have a relationship with Him.
Wow. We talked a bit about a few weeks back on the show about having a relationship with God, and you know, going back to the creator of everything and looking to Him. And I think it's great. I'm glad that you know brought it up, because everyone's relationship with God is different. Everyone's at different phases of it. So it's just like you said, going back to the creator, looking at what we feed on. I think I like what you said about seeds, which there's reference to seeds and fruit and things that bear fruit in the Bible so much, and it could be talking about food, it can be talking about, you know, our dreams, our hopes. But like you said, let's try and stick with food. I think there are like loads of mentions of like meals and eating together in the Bible. Like it talks about Jesus eating with His disciples, and especially like, you know, the Last Supper that a lot of people hear about, where Jesus talks like partake, like he used food as an example of Him, like, here, partake of me, like eat my body, and this wine is my blood, like do this. I think it just shows the intimacy that He wants with us, He wants to have with us. And the you know, the meal times are so important. Like nowadays I think it's rare that people get together and, you know, sit and eat together, but I think maybe it's like, maybe it's a thing of how we can like include God in our meal times, or include God in our like times that are supposed to be quiet and peaceful, and just think and like include Him in everything. What do you think about this, like meals?
I think it's very important. Family meals, taking time to be thankful, taking time to talk about things that go on in our lives and discuss issues. Or when you look at also too, when you look at the relationship Jesus had with His disciples and people that were around Him, it was a point to be able to reach out to people. Sometimes you have when we want to spread the gospel, we have this very stereotypical, oh, let me print out some tracts and go on the streets and just, you know, let somebody stand there and I just jab and talk things. There's so much you can actually say while you're on the street. But when you go to people's homes or invite people to your homes and you're over a meal, you can actually sit down and talk more in depth about things. And discuss and get to know people too, because it also shows that you're interested in people and you're not just coming to just spit something or throw something at them. I'm like, oh, take it. I'm telling you this, and you need to do this.
Do it.
But it builds relationship with people. And that was one of the ways Jesus reached out to people like Zacchaeus, and so many other people. He made friends with them so he could pour himself out to them. And that's one thing that we should all imbibe or look at as a perfect example as Christians. If we want to reach out to people, it's one of the ways. If you want to have deep impact, because sometimes I think about it, I'm like, oh, we're to make disciples. And when you want to make a disciple, it's not just on the streets. You can't just do that within 5 minutes. You need to have, if the person is willing, you need to have a more in-depth time with them. I need to take interest in people's lives, not just, oh, I'm just coming to preach to you. You need to get to know people.
Well, I think that's really important, because I know sometimes you think you're like, oh Lord, like I want to share the gospel, but I feel like I don't know where to start, or I don't know what to say. Like you kind of you see people that do it on the street and you're like, I don't want to be like those people, or I want that boldness, but I don't want to just like shout at people, like so it's good. Like, it's interesting how you are able to acknowledge this idea of like Jesus and meal times, and about spending time with people and sharing the gospel through ways of like sitting down. So, like, how can people how have you included Jesus in your blogging and meal times?
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Sorry. How do you include Jesus in your blogging and in your meal times, and how can people do that?
Well, I do by being thankful and grateful, really. It will surprise you the things I'm very grateful for. So many things. The smallest thing. So I think it's important to be thankful for where your food came from, the money, how you got the money. I know you would say, oh, I worked hard for it, nobody helped me, but it's important to be thankful because somebody else could have had that job, and wouldn't have the nicest meal that you had or you're having. And in my blog, it's more to understand that he wants us to be physically nourished. So anything I'm making, I know it is part of his plan for us to eat good and to eat well. God is not a person who wants people to be in starvation or to be in excess too, on the other side, because recently that's one thing I've been trying to find a balance with. Learning not to be, just to be in the middle, more or less, and to have moderation and not have that balance.
Oh, that's really good. I think it's true. Sometimes I know for me, sometimes I'm in a rush, to eat, but I've been trying to make more of an effort. Oh Lord, thank you for this food that you've given me. Like, we take it for granted sometimes. Just having a basic meal, even if it's not the best meal at the time, whatever meal that you're able to have, but learning from a blog now, we'll be able to make those delicious meals. How we can include Jesus, and just being thankful, I think, is really important. It's really hard to be thankful in this day and age sometimes. So talking more about your faith in general, with food, but faith as well, how has it helped you, with good times, bad times? How have you stayed fervent, do you have any stories about your faith that you can share with us?
Yes, I do. I have quite a number. God has been really good and faithful. I've been married 7 years plus, and we just had a baby boy last year. So we had some conception issues trying to conceive. And it was quite a struggle for several years. emotionally, it was draining, um, and all manner of thoughts that come through your head and all sorts of things, struggling with the fact that you want to be parents
Yeah.
and it's not happening and you're wondering why, so but there's a place where I go to, and that is God, and knowing Him that He's my source to help me to scale through. Because one thing I always prayed for was that, Lord, as I'm going through this process, I don't want to jump gun. I don't want to um, just allow this thing pass and I've not learned anything. That because it's so easy. We're quick to just want should I say miracles, or
Yeah.
just want things to just be done. But there's process. God is a God of process. If you're a son, or if you want to get to
Yeah.
maturity, you have to go through things. Nowadays we have where this is called the instant generation. It's like
Yeah.
everybody just wants everything at a snap. But things go through process. To get anything really good that lasts long, it
Yeah.
has to go through a process, and a sturdy one, built on a foundation that is strong. And so when I just encourage people that when you go through hard times, know that God is building you. He's not trying to tear you down. He's not trying to pull you or to discourage you, but he's saying, because sometimes when I look at my boy and he's on, maybe he's just started crawling, and he's like trying to, touch my leg and it's like, carry me, carry me. But I'm like, oh no, you can do it, you can call, or you
Yeah.
can, try to encourage him to move around a little bit more. And sometimes it's like that with us and God. And he's saying, I know you can take this next step. I know you can stand. I know you can walk. I know you can do this, to build us up, because then you can do more things. Um, yeah, that's one experience. And there's one I clearly remember when I was, I think I was about 8 years old, and I know I gave my life to Christ at around 8.
Yeah.
I know I rededicated again much later, but at 8, we were going through a really tough time in my family. Financially, it was really hard, and I asked the Lord, I needed shirts, just t-shirts, and I wanted 5 t-shirts. That's what I asked for.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody about it. I just prayed. And some months after, somebody came and gave me 5 t-shirts. And that really
Wow.
encouraged me, as young as I was then, that God listens and He really cares for us, because I didn't have a lot of things to wear and I needed those things. And I just saw that God knows our needs and He listens to us, no matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, whatever situation you're in, God, He does listen.
Wow. That's so powerful. Like, I think what you said has just been a blessing to me, not just me, but I think hopefully God willing, everyone listening, because I think what you talked about is, it is easy. I know for me, sometimes you're looking at that one thing and you're like, God, I want it now, and it's like, wait, He's not like that. He doesn't just, like, He would never give you something now if it was going to destroy you. So I think it's very easy to get swept up in the ways of this world, especially when things are so instant. Like, I know for me, for things that I've been going through, dealing with, I think God's just trying to show things are going to happen. It's just, you don't know, His timing is His timing, and it's it's going to happen. If it's right, if it's His will, if it's His plan, it's going to happen. You just have to be, I think something that I think for years I've been working with God is patience, trying to develop patience and develop even sometimes I'm sure, I don't know if sometimes it's hard because you feel like, oh, other people have got it now, why can't I have it now? But it's I was talking to other people and they're saying when it's your time, it be your time. And it's sometimes it's so hard and you feel like, I've waited so long, and like you said, you didn't want to jump the gun. I mean, sometimes you do jump the gun, but I think that's when we just need to come back to a place of being humble and just be like, okay, God, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. I need your help. You're the only one who knows what's good for me. You know the plan. Lord, how do I? So, how do we like? What have you done, or what have you done, and what can other people do to like when they felt doubt and when they felt like things aren't happening for me? What do you do? What are the steps you take to coming back to God and being like, you have been faithful. I think I'm the one who probably have been a bit unfaithful. When you have that doubt, what have you like done? How has he like how have you gotten reassurance? That's a big
Okay.
question.
I would say just really talking to him about whatever you've gone through. Because I think sometimes we think God is aloof and very far, but talk to him like he's your friend and just tell him, Lord, I made this mistake. You know what's in my heart. He knows everything. He can see everything, whether you say it or not. But I think it's better to say it because it will be good for you one way or the other. Just tell him, what's in your heart. And even if it is wrong, because sometimes I think we're scared to tell God things that are wrong, our positions that are wrong in our hearts. You feel like hitting somebody, but yeah, it's true. Tell him that you do feel, and he will tell you you shouldn't do that and tell you what you should do, what is the right thing for you to do, because you cannot pretend before him. Even if you don't say it, he sees it in your heart, I've personally found praying is very important, and if necessary, even crying, let those
Definitely.
emotions out, talk to God. And just, you see so many descriptions of where people cry in scriptures. Hannah cried before God. Jesus cried. Jesus wept
Jesus
when
wept.
Lazarus, when his friend died. And so many examples are there. So I think it's important to just talk and express yourself, and tell him what it is, and he gives instructions and shows you in his word what exactly you should do, and he will direct you by his spirit, by his Holy Spirit, on what to do. So it depends on the situation. I mean, this topic is like a
It's so
topic for,
big.
yes, it's massive.
We'll definitely talk more about that. But going back to so we talked a little bit about your healthy eating journey and what discoveries. So like it's interesting. Let's talk about the journey with healthy eating and unhealthy eating. Like, what have you found to be like? Have you found things that have? Because there's always like different news stories on what we should eat and like things that are healthy that we think aren't healthy. Like I know I've heard bread is healthy, but when it's unhealthy, but bread is healthy, or like what kind of like foods have you found that were healthy, or food that you haven't found that was unhealthy?
Let me see. I personally, it's just more cutting back on carbohydrates, and sugars. You function a lot better, with that. And then I've been reading about hybrids recently, discovering hybrids are plants that are kind of crossbred, to get more of a certain feature out of them, to be maybe more resistant to disease or better looking or taste better and all that. For example, you have carrots. Like, a lot of people don't know that carrots are originally, they were white in color and they're very woody. And sometimes you see there's some that are sold in the supermarkets and people think, oh, that's weird. Carrots are orange, So when you don't know, excuse me,
It's okay.
you think you're eating something healthy, but then even to get the real thing, it's quite difficult to get. So I've been, discovering more about those. And then there's so many other foods that were just not in nature, that are just not natural.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's so cool. So food and faith, like it's a big topic. We've
Yes.
we've ranged from like funny cooking stories and eating together and just like bringing God into everything we're doing with food and bringing people together with food, which sounds great.
Mm.
So do you have like any other um any other like recipes or experiments that you're working on right now?
At the moment, it's just anything I find interesting, and discussing various ideas.
Share some.
Because I have a little one,
Yeah.
and I really have to plan my time, and sometimes it can be very impromptu. So I'm trying to get myself into a schedule, so I can be a little bit more focused. But if you're looking forward to anything on the blog, really,
Yeah.
it's more to do with recipes and then discussing any ideas, foodie ideas. There's so much actually I want to blog on. There's a lot I do, but my mind is just in so many places. I'm like trying to pick the best one, you know.
So let's look. So in terms of like flavors, like seasonal flavors and seasonal like ingredients and stuff, what have you found like this season? Like we're going into summer, but it's been rainy. So summer is, I don't know if summer on hold. It's coming? It's surely it's coming out of the storm. But what kind of like flavors are you looking forward to like getting back into with this summer, or new flavors?
This summer, anything tropical. Anything tropical, anything, and I would say I'm excited to eat mangoes, really.
Oh, mangoes.
Sorry, not the ones you buy in Tesco.
Oh, shade.
I'm so sorry. It's just
okay.
horrible.
Be truthful.
Because when you taste them, it's like, it just tastes like boiled mango. But when you buy them from like, the street markets, Afro-Caribbean shops, they're obviously from different places, so they taste better. Yeah. So, that. I can't really think of anything. Just anything summery, and strawberries are there.
Strawberries,
Yeah.
It's interesting. You were talking about going back to your hybrids plants as well. You had something interesting you told me about strawberries. Explain to us like the hybrids and like knowing how to pick the right kind of foods that aren't maybe necessarily that like isn't it genetically modified, you'd say? How can you spot like the differences?
I think it's really doing your research. You really need to look into what the information that is out there and verify things and know what is available to you, because some things might not be local to you. You can't find certain things here. You can look online. There are lots of places that stock stuff that are the real or original stuff. Yeah, I would say you just need to read up and understand what things are like.
What things are available, what things are out there. But like it's interesting, the carrot things. Carrots are meant to be white, because I know there's purple carrots as well, so it's like it's interesting. So which carrots are the real carrots?
It is because I think the purple carrots is probably a step up from the white ones, and then you get the orange ones, which were, I think, made more for the sake of how bright and colorful looking. Apparently the saying that carrots are great for night vision was actually it's a myth. So they might help your eyes, but not sure about
probably
night
not
vision.
seeing in the dark. So that's interesting, doing your research. And like I think What would you say to people who are like stressed out about like trying to go on that healthy journey, and they're like, oh, I don't even know where to start. There's so much foods I like. I don't want to compromise on flavor because something's healthy. Like, you know, that whole idea that something's good for us doesn't taste good. How would you like help people who are struggling, or most of us who are struggling? Like, I want to eat healthy, but it doesn't taste nice.
Yeah. I think it starts very small. Start with the simple things like drinking more water. Then flavor your food, because you see a lot of children struggling to eat vegetables these days because they're not flavored. You just boil some stuff and you're sticking it in your child's mouth and they don't like the taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just make things a little bit more interesting. Read about stuff, experiment, understand, what goes with what. There's certain things that taste amazing with certain things. Certain things taste not as great. Some things bring out a lot more flavor, like I find pink Himalayan salt is very good when you bringing out flavor in lots of meals. Thyme is a great one too, so if you're looking to take the next step in the right direction of being healthy, think about you also to your environment.
Yeah.
Declutter, that's another thing, because you take stress out of your life. Um, um, Cleaner air, remove unnecessary, should I say, electronics or gadgets you don't need.
Yeah.
Just simple things. Sometimes we think it's very complex, being healthy, but you never know the change that will take place by just taking that little step, drinking an extra 2 glasses of water a day because your body functions on water,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sounds simple, but I think it's right. It's a journey, isn't it? Like you said,
Yeah.
it's a journey that people can that we that you can start easily. I think the drinking more water thing is definitely important for everyone, and it's good because like even we had a story on the show last week that
Yeah.
they're looking at trying to make junk food packaging simple to stop it, being more attractive to parents to buy and for children. They're trying to look at sugar the same way they look at, smoking, like, because they're saying it's just as bad, just as unhealthy. And it's true,
Yeah.
there's sugar in everything. So
Yeah.
it's interesting
Yes,
to
that's true.
how we're gonna combat the issues of like childhood obesity and
Mm.
obesity in adults as well, because sugar it's so easy to just grab onto sugar, isn't it?
Yep, it is. It is very, and it's very tasty and very
Yeah.
satisfying.
But I think it's like we know it's moderation, isn't it? So or swap. Is it good to swap like artificial sugar for like natural sugar, like eating more like they say eat more fruits and veg, but does that
Because the thing also too with eating more fruit, that's sugar too.
Yeah.
So, but it depends, and then it depends on how ripe the fruit is. Because, for example, with bananas, as they get older, the sugars in it develop, and apparently it's even depending on where it is, it's even more nutritious. But that's the whole long story.
Yeah.
But I personally like stevia, which is quite nice. If you get the proper green one, it's a bit bitter, but anything that has stevia in it is not so bad. Aspartame, stay away from it. It's not good for you. It messes your brain.
Aspartame.
Yeah, a lot of sugar-free stuff are not great for your health. They're just not. They really mess with a lot of things. So I would say still take sugar, but maybe dilute, because one thing I do is I can get like orange juice or apple juice, and I would just top it up with with sparkling water.
Wow.
At least you get half the dose of the sugar. It might not taste as you want it to taste, but at least you're getting something.
Some kind of nutrients,
Yeah.
Wow. So, we've talked a lot. We've talked a lot today. But before I let you go back to baby and the rest of your day, what else, like, do you have any upcoming events or plans or any messages you'd like to, spread out here onto the Starr Radio community?
Well, it's just encouraging people to eat healthy, to live healthy, um, to think carefully about the decisions you make regarding your life, and because it can break or make you in different ways. Um, and with food, try as much as possible to consume things that would nourish your body, because that's the important thing. We need nourishment.
Yeah.
So you need all your vitamins and minerals, because that's how your body functions. And we should just eat less of things that don't actually provide nutrition to our bodies. So it's not necessarily not eating pizza, because I hear pizza is great. It can have your veggies on
Yeah.
it. It has carbs, it has cheese, which is a little bit of protein and all that. So it's not staying away from pizza,
Yeah.
but it's understanding what exactly you should be eating. Yeah, and just look out for interesting stories on my blog and what's next on it.
Yes, definitely. And what's next on the show as well. But
Yes.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing your words of wisdom with us and
you're welcome.
your
My pleasure.
delicious recipes. We'll put that up on the Star Radio website as well.
Okay.
Pia, do you have anyone you want to say hello to before you go?
Well, to everybody on the Star Radio listening, hello, hello, hello to you, and hope you're having a great day. Saying hello to my family, both here and abroad. Yeah.
Thank you so
Mm.
much. It's been a pleasure. You've been a pleasure, and thank you to everyone who's listening. You've been I hope we've impacted. We've given you some kind of good words of wisdom for you to go away and think about what you're going to do next. And definitely check out the blog Silver Linings on WordPress. It's amazing. And your Instagram page as well. You've got loads of yummy scrummy images of food on there as well. So shout yourself out.
Yeah.
At Pinspiratio and
So it's
Pinspiratio.
yeah,
Kitchen.
P inspiration, Pauline's inspiration, more or less.
So yeah, thank you so much. I'll let you go now, but thank you so much, Sister Pauline, for everything that you've been saying. Thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you for just sharing everything here on What's Next with people, younger, older, different stages of their lives, particularly the younger ones. But
Yeah.
thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, I'll let you go now, but thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. So I hope listeners, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've heard so much and learnt so much about food and faith and how these things go hand in hand, like Sister Pauline said, nourishment, living healthy, the small changes, living healthy, being healthy, living healthy, eating healthy, we're talking physically, mentally, spiritually, all those things. But before we go, I want to acknowledge so much people who have joined. Thank you so much. Dave West, thank you, our top fan here at Star Radio UK. Thank you so much for listening. Ricky Lova, good morning from Florida. Thank you, all the way in the US. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Emmanuel Teste, for joining. Thank you, Tenny Williams, for joining. Thank you so much. Thank you, Annie, for joining. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dad, again, for joining, for listening live. Thank you guys so much. But do let me know if you want to get involved, if you want to call in, if you have any opinions to share. You can call us on 020-8133-2257, 020-8133-22558 as well. Outside the US and Canada, 001-718-303-2737. And you can send us a text or a WhatsApp on 075-3966-1744. And send me a DM on Twitter or email at what's next 3. That's at WHATZNEXT3. And make sure if you're interested in, coming on, sharing your views, of anything that we've discussed, any of the news topics, if you have any topics, definitely shout me out and check us on Twitter and send an email at info@starradio.co.com or ife.popoola@starradiouk.com. And I'd love to have you on. I'd love to discuss with you, just share some advice and impacts. Share your experiences, because you never know how it's going to impact someone's life, how it's going to change someone's life, So, but for everyone listening, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. That's it from me, but we're gonna have more for you here at Starr Radio UK, and we're gonna be bringing you the Niger Voices with Olayomi Koiki later at 6 p.m. So stay tuned for that. But you've been wonderful today. Thank you for listening so far. If you've been listening from the beginning, thank you. If you've just joined in, make sure you tune in next week every Wednesday at 1 p.m. So thank you so much for listening, and that's a goodbye from me. Have a wonderful rest of your week and an amazing weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bless me, amen. Say God bless you too, amen. Bless your papa, oh, amen. Bless your mama, oh. Whoever bless me, amen. Say God bless you too, amen. Bless your papa, oh, amen. Bless your mama, oh, yeah. See me, I see you, yeah. Batura for me, yeah. Look, oh, Baba, international something. It's a big situation. Them back our money, take it to other nation. Invest for your country, make it a better place. Spend the money for your country, make it a better place. Forget about the big things, so make it talk about the small things.